Hello, my dear folks. Welcome to the show. My name is Jack Shao on the East-West Show with lots of pride and with G&E TV as umbrella. We feel that we are better off because we are on the platform on which we feel that we are capable of bringing you informations that we feel necessary. Right? If you recall, last month in the first week, during the first or second week of the past month, we put up an interview with my dear friend Mia Yamamoto, an attorney at law, namely criminal defense attorney, specialized in dealing with death penalty cases, to share about her view, which is, well, so far, quite a eye-opener to the public about our cruelties, if we may, in terms of punishment. That is to say, that includes the death penalty as punishment, and the police brutality as punishment, and government brutality as misconduct, those parts, right? So lots of emails reached my box, and I even got calls to the main line or even to my cell phone saying that they want to hear more. So
good.
Congratulations to you. You did a good time, very good time, very good job. And once again, welcome to the show. Please.
Thank you, Jack.
All right, good. And you know, it's a kind of the word on the mouth, right? That kind of thing, word of mouth thing. Some saw your show, some didn't, just got a word. So for them, I would like to, please, if I may, ask for a little introduction about yourself, your firm, your practice, please.
Well, I've been practicing in criminal law for about 40 years. I started the Public Defender's Office in Los Angeles in 1974. I had been a legal aid attorney before that. I've always felt very strongly that the poor don't get a very fair hearing in the government or in the courts. And so being a public defender was very important to me. I was a public defender for 10 years. I went into private practice in 1985.
I see.
And I've been in private practice pretty much ever since. But death penalty has been a very important part of my practice.
And you mentioned a very important point. That is exactly the point why my audience had such a large amount of feedback. And to be honest, this is the first time I see that kind of feedback.
Oh,
right?
That's interesting.
You saying that the poorer, they are the lesser represented.
Yes.
The poorer, the lesser being justified, right? So I need some further analysis of that, please.
I think it's a situation where in this particular country, the disparity between the rich and the poor is growing greater. But as long as I've been around, I've always seen that the poor people are never getting a fair shake. They're never getting the same shake as the rich. In this particular instance in the courts, where the law is supposed to belong to everybody, I've always felt that it was my obligation to be a part of the system and to make something about the system that would change the way that poor are treated in the courtrooms across the country. There's a lot more poor people than there are rich people. That's understandable. That's clear. But the idea is that justice belongs to everyone, and it belongs to everyone equally. And in that sense, the ideal of equal justice for everybody can only be achieved by lawyers and judges and policemen and prosecutors.
I do understand that by principle, justice is shared just among people equally, regardless how rich you are, how poor you are. But in practice, though, it is not that way, isn't it?
Well, not at all, as a matter of fact. I mean, I was a public defender for 10 years.
I see.
And we handle the vast bulk of all the poor people that come through the courts who are accused of crimes. And the public defenders are great lawyers, but they have too many cases. And the cases are very difficult, and they're treated very badly in the courthouse and by the government. Their funding is not the same as the police and the prosecutors. They don't have the same resources, and they are overburdened. They are always given way more cases than any competent lawyer can handle. And so this creates a problem. There's a tension. And a lot of the public defenders are seen as agents of the government instead of lawyers for the accused. And so a lot of the defendants feel very cynical towards the public defenders and feel as though they don't get a fair representation.
Yeah, is there, am I right if I go ahead to assume a connotation that even though public defender is provided to represent the system, the fairness of the system, yet due to the limited time and overloaded the amount of work, though, they are not capable of handling case as each individual private attorney are paid for.
I think part of it is volume. They're given an unreasonable
Volume,
amount
yes.
of cases to try to handle competently at the same time, and I don't think anybody can do that, but they try. Let me just say that the public defenders that I know, I think, like I said, are great lawyers, and they're great people.
Oh, yeah,
But
of
when you
course.
get beaten over the head every single day, not just by the courts and the prosecutors and the cops, but
Yeah.
also by your clients, it gets you tired. And I think it beats you down.
Also times that you notice yourself, when you're in court, there comes a public defender with a briefcase, not a briefcase, briefcase.
Stack of
The
cases.
briefcase, stack of case, and draw over, case
Yeah,
number,
it's
blah,
true.
blah, blah, okay, here it. Another one, put it aside, and then take another one,
That's
then
very
open
true.
another case.
That's
right?
very true.
Even during the same hour when he or she appears to the court, though, her mind have to be split by the band, band one, band two, like that
Exactly.
kind.
Exactly, that's
so
the case.
human mind doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. It's like acting. It's like asking an actor to take on 15 different roles. Okay, here's one role. All of a sudden, you're a different person. Then you're a different person. To do justice to every single one of them, you need more time. You need more thought. You need more communication between
You
you
have
and
to
the
be
client.
equally aware of each of the arguing point of each case that you're handling one whole morning.
You have to be prepared to face every challenge that's working in the case and come out of it to the advantage of a client.
Right.
And that's very difficult. It's easier to say that than it is to do that.
Yeah. I remember seeing a show of a chess contest of 10 people, 10 players, chess players against one. What happened is a guy is facing 10 games at the same time. Looking at this, like that kind.
That's a perfect analogy.
That is probably
Exactly it.
something exactly that happens to court with public defenders, right?
And you have to be that skilled and that present and that well prepared in order to do a good job on every single one of those 10 cases.
I see. My dear audience, being a public defender is not an easy job. They are, once again, good attorneys, like my friend Mia mentioned and emphasized again and again. Yet the fact is that human minds have to work certain ways.
Yes.
We're all human, have work certain ways that there's at a given time, specific time, you have to concentrate yourself. You will be concentrated so that you will do some kind of a better job rather than just follow the procedure.
No matter how skilled you are, no matter how experienced, we all have limits. And there are limits imposed by just the nature of the numbers that you have to face every single day.
All right.
And that limits the possible performance that you could actually achieve on behalf of each client.
With that touch base issue, though, we probably could start a create, or certainly in a certain way is created. In a conduct like that kind of way, though, there are mistakes. Mistakes could be made. Sometimes the severe mistakes,
Yes, and that
big
happens.
mistakes could be made, right? So that leads to wrong judgment, wrong conviction, including death penalties.
Correct.
Am I right?
That's correct. I mean, they just recently, I guess you can't say recently, but I know that we passed 100 people on death row that were wrongfully convicted. The innocent people, we were about to kill them. Thank goodness for DNA testing, because that's what actually took all these people off death row and proved that they were innocent. But without that testing, those people would all be dead by now, and these miscarriages of justice are irretrievable. You can't bring them back and give them anything to compensate them for what they've lost, because they've lost their lives. And
So
that's the
once
end of it.
again, the fingers are pointing to one direction, that the nature of death penalty cannot be that kind of justified, or as the representative of our judicious nature of our judicial system.
It is not, I don't think, reflective of our judicial and our legislative ideals, the things that we aspire to for ourselves as a community and as people. But it does appeal to the most primal and the most aggressive parts of human beings.
I see.
Because violence is very satisfying and it's very enjoyable. And people use that as a means of thinking that they somehow are achieving justice, when all they're achieving is vengeance. And all they're doing is actually accelerating the cycles of violence that are actually making us less safe.
All right, okay. You know, Mia, I really rely upon you in talking not only on the surface, but to get to the depth of the issue, to find conceptually what does death penalty represent, right? What kind of mind? So, my dear audience, today is a very precious moment that I got a chance to sit down with a high-ranking professional in the area of public defense or criminal defense. Basically, she has been involved more in death penalty defense. Her name is Mia Yamamoto, a beautiful friend of mine. All right, so still active in the area. We're trying not only touch base with the issue, but also peel up the onion to see the next layer and down to the bottom, very bottom to see the core. The core being the nature of death penalty, right? So stay with us, please, my dear friend. When we come back, we'll find out still.